As I've been driving around town here in Los Angeles, I'll still see these yard signs for Biden, Harris, or I'll see the bumper stickers in the back of the car. Even though it's November 6th, we're well past the election, you still see these yard signs. I guess that's normal, right? But what I can't help but think about is how a vote for these people was really just a vote for the establishment. I mean, it's really strange if you try to wrap your head around that. These two people waffled on every issue. They don't stand for anything really, other than just desperately wanting to be in power. Anyways, that's what we're talking about today on Americana X Newswatch. I'm Greg D, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. If you've been here to the show before, welcome. If you're new to the show, welcome. Like, comment, subscribe. Also, share this video out to people in your network because we want to continue to encourage and promote positivity. And we want to promote an excellent way of thinking. We want to promote a positive view of our own country. And we're doing that all here on Americana X. This show in particular, Newswatch, it's all about looking at a common sense perspective on the weekly news cycle. We're here for conservatives that care about what's going on behind the sensationalized headlines. And today, what I wanted to talk about is, I guess it's starting the conversation by looking at the fact that these yard signs sort of represent people that are voting for a giant Borg establishment, right? They're voting for the hive mind, and how really uninspiring that really is, and how odd that is, how really weird, to get people fired up enough to vote for reinstalling an establishment with no soul and no heart. So strange. But I guess there's some comfort in that. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here. Is for these people in their mind, they must be kind of comfortable with the idea of having a larger government and the government's going to take care of us. And there may be like a temporary comfort in that. But when has any of these politicians made good on the promise that they were going to take care of us, right? When has the establishment ever made good on that promise? So the way things are going right now, maybe, we will see the deep state establishment reinstated. It's possible right now. It seems unlikely, but there is still a possibility for it. And maybe running a sort of establishment-friendly candidate is going to work out for the Democrats in the end. I guess we'll find out soon, one way or the other. It just feels so weird to me to get so fired up about a candidate that you're going to put a sticker in the back of your car, or you're going to put a yard sign in your yard that represents someone that wants to return us to something that's more establishment oriented. We want the Borg hive mind to run everything. We want to take away your freedoms. And these people are like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I just want to be a part of is there comfort in the hive mind? Maybe there's just comfort in knowing you're just like, a tiny ant in a giant ant farm. And you have no differentiating features at all. You're just one of this giant group, this giant mass of people. That is what we got with Biden-Harris. We got a placeholder for the bureaucratic state. And if they get elected, that's what's going to get installed right behind them. So they get put in place, and then a big giant gob of people come in. It's just this big bureaucratic state that represents big government, big establishment. Limit your freedoms. Who cares about your freedoms? I don't know. I guess what it leaves me wondering is, how do these people get excited so much about conformity? How do they do that? I mean, is status quo living really that exciting? Because it seems like that's what it's a return to. It's a return to something, I guess, certain, something that you feel like you have more understanding of. but it is a representation of the status quo. It seems like people would want to be against the status quo. They would want more for themselves than that. They literally, the Democrats are a party fighting to reestablish what was the status quo vibe of the Obama years. The truth is, I don't think that the people voting for Biden-Harris really know what they're fighting for. I don't know if they're fighting for anything at all, really, when it comes down to it. Will their life improve when Joe Biden becomes president? I don't know. In what way would it be measurable? What kind of metric could we see that their life is improving once he becomes president? What's really going to change? Their guy's president. But what does it really do for them? I don't think they've really thought about the question. Hey, liberals, you finally got your wish. Joe Biden's your guy. You know, he's your president, right? Are you now going to stop expressing yourself with so much negativity and vitriol and anger and bitterness? Are you going to start expressing yourself with more optimism and positivity because Joe Biden is now president? I don't know. I think the liberals are just going to keep complaining because just because you sneakily used fraud to sneak your guy into the White House is not going to change really anything. Liberals are still going to be the party of party poopers. They're still going to be the negative, pessimistic, angry people that are walking around calling our country racist, homophobic, you know, and the series of other slurs that go along with it, the tired tropes. In fact, they may even get more emboldened now that they've got a president that backs that whole idea. Because, as we've established here, Joe Biden is nothing more than a placeholder for the establishment. He is a deep stater that's going to reestablish the deep state. Wow, that's real inspiring, huh? Big government style that doesn't actually make that much of a change for the unhealthy psychology of the liberals they got to vote for them. That's really the sad part. So if you've been fixated your whole life on complaining, let's say you're one of these liberals, and you've just been thinking about what there is to complain about. Your mind is always looking for the next thing to either rail against or call somebody a slur, either say they're racist or they're homophobic or whatever you want to say they are, whatever kind of fancy phobic word you can come up with. If you've been doing that your whole life, how are you going to change that pattern? I got news for you. The negative psychology is not going to just change overnight because Joe Biden was elected president. Democrats are like, we desperately want things to be the way that they used to be, you know? When our president just spouted brainless political platitudes that were meaningless. We were all, in a much better headspace then. Let's go back to that time. But Joe simply represents a hive mind of a day gone by. And they're trying to recapture the energy of a hive mind. Honestly, I think the last time that kind of politically correct, identity politics worldview was really going to win, really win big, is when Obama did it during his 2 terms. We gave the guy 2 terms to really make something out of identity politics and really turn it into something that truly motivated people. But honestly, all it does is keep people more negative in pointing out the differences between people and pointing out how everything's bad and awful and ugly and nasty and our country's terrible and we need to complain about everything and then apologize for who we are everywhere we go. It's so sad from my perspective to see that we were actually stepping away from that and becoming more sort of less focused on guilt and shame and more focused on positivity and where are there still possibilities and options, and how can we focus there and move in a direction of things working. You know, so sad to see us now having such a fight just to keep that going. Focus on autonomy and individual freedom, and focus on people being able to sort of control their own destiny and move in their own direction out of a positive mindset. What, we're going to kill that and then reinstall something that's focused on, you know, identity politics, racial differences, the sexes, we'll pit them against each other. What are we doing? Well, that's what they're fighting for, and they fought really hard for it, and they still have stickers in their car to prove it. I kind of want to make a t-shirt that says, "I vote for the deep state establishment to take over." I've said this in one of my past videos, but I think it bears repeating here. We used to say we're going to rage against the machine, but now we say we're going to rage with the machine. It's very sad. Couldn't be more fitting, though, for what the liberals are trying to do right now, as they try to desperately cheat and use fraud to install a deep state establishment candidate. And that's what's going on this week. As I'm here speaking into this microphone, talking to you, this is what liberals are actively trying to do. They're working very hard at it right now. And they may succeed. They are literally all rooting for the dishonest vote tallying fraud that's going on in all of our Democrat-run swing states right now. It's really crazy to see, but liberals are literally rooting for a state-level coup d'etat against the federal government. Will they get away with it? Will evil, dishonest cheating win? I don't know. Or will honesty and integrity overcome lying and cheating? I guess we're going to find out here in the coming days, huh? We're going to find out if autonomy and freedom and encouraging positivity and optimism wins, or if cynical, negative, deep state establishment takeover wins. At any rate, let me know what you think. Which one do you think is ultimately going to win here? Which side? The side on autonomous freedom and individual positivity and optimism? Or do you think that we're going to hand the country over to the Democrats and they'll do whatever they're going to do with it, right? Hand the presidency over to them. Let me know what you think in the comments section. It's been another episode of Americana X Newswatch. I'm Greg D, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. We will see you next time.